ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरो श्रीयुतपदकमलं श्रीगुरून् वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगणरघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं श्रीकृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधाकृष्णपादान् सहगणललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च। हे कृष्णा करुणा सिन्धो दीनबन्धो जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिका कान्ता राधा कान्ता नमोस्तुते। तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये। नमो महावदान्याय कृष्ण प्रेम प्रदायिने कृष्णाय कृष्ण चैतन्य नामिने गौरत्विषे नमः। पंचतत्वात्मकं कृष्णं भक्तरूपस्वरूपकं भक्तावतारं भक्ताख्यं नमामि भक्तशक्तिकं। श्रीकृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासदि गौरभक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। जन्माद्यस्य तोन्मयादितरतश्चार्थेषुभिज्ञस्वराट् तेने ब्रह्म हृदय आदिकवये मुह्यन्ति यत्सूरयः। तेजो वारिमृदां यथा विनिमयो यत्र त्रिसर्गो मृषा धाम्ना स्वेन सदा निरस्तकुहकं सत्यं परं धीमहि। नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरयेत्। Reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, 3rd Canto, 29th chapter, verse number 35. Lord Kapila is teaching to his mother Devahuti, and he is explaining Bhakti Yoga. Actually, he has completed his instructions, and the last verse was that one should respect the living beings which were described before, the various levels, various grades of beings with mind, seeing that Lord is existing along with the soul inside all the bodies. So there is Lord everywhere, and we have to recognize His presence. So at present we don't perceive Him, we don't feel His presence, but we can understand from the Shastra. So that's why Shastra is considered as Praman. Gyat Gyapko Shastra. That which explains, which cannot be known by any other means, is called Shastra. The knowledge which is given by Shastra is not available by any other means. So that's why he cannot say Nanu and Nacha, or he cannot override the injunction of the Shastra because of your own understanding or thought or imagination. Because Shastra gives knowledge which is beyond the purview of our own senses. Our senses do not have the ability to enter into this realm. So If we have faith, we accept it. If we don't have faith, then we can deal in the material world. So in Bhagavatam it is described that material world, to those who do not have experience of Paramatma, existence of God in this material world, then it appears material. But those who have the vision of God, who have devotion to God, then they can actually feel the presence of God everywhere. Because this question was raised in 7th canto, the 15th chapter, there are instructions of Narada Rishi to Yudhishthira Maharaj. And in those instructions he is explaining how it is Paramatma who is manifest everywhere and in everything. And not only that he manifests the universe, but he also enters into it. And ultimately he proves that there is nothing which exists besides him. As there are Shruti statements in the Upanishads, Neha Nanasti Kinchana, that there is nothing here except the Brahman. Sarvam Khalu Idam Brahman. It is all this is Brahman. Atma Vidam Sarvam, all this is Paramatma only. So then the question was raised that if this is the case, then how come there are injunctions in the Shastra that one should not kill, one should not hear? He is also giving injunctions here. Or one should perform certain activities. Arahar Sandhyam Upasita. Brahmana is supposed to perform Sandhya every day, morning, evening. So what is the meaning of these statements? Because how can we even say that a Brahmana should perform Sandhya? Because if everything is Paramatma, then who is Brahmana? Right? It's a natural question. So the answer which is given is very interesting. It says that when we have doubt, which includes also ignorance about Paramatma, then these injunctions are applicable. But if you don't have doubt, which means you have experienced, then the injunctions are not applicable because you are already beyond injunctions. You are called Nirgrantha, beyond the Granthas, beyond scriptures. And there is an example which is given. It said just like in the dream, you have a wakeful state. In the dream, you think you are awake and you are doing some things, right? But are you awake? No, you are not. And sometimes in the dream also you may dream. You can dream that you are dreaming. Right? Try this type of dream next time you see. It's going to be a very nice dream. Dream within a dream. Double dream. So he says that just as in the dream there can be divisions of wakefulness and dream which really don't exist, yet they are applicable to you when you are in the dream. When you wake up, then they are not applicable to you because you are not dreaming anymore. So in the same way, dream means state of ignorance basically. So when we are in the state of ignorance, then these injunctions are applicable to us. When we come out of it, then they are not applicable because the purpose is fulfilled. Purpose of injunction is to realize God. Now you will naturally function with your bhav. So actually everything is Paramatma, but when we do not know, then are told to behave in a particular manner so that we can come to know Paramatma. So for this reason he explained in the previous verses, and he concluded that Mansa etani bhutani pranamed bahumani, and that one should pay obeisances with great respect to all these which were described above. But he says with mind, because there may be people who are junior to you. You are a father and you have children, so you cannot fall down at their feet and pay respect to them. That is against the code of conduct. Or you may be teacher and you have students. So then that's why the word is used mansa, in the mind. You can give respect in the mind to anyone without causing any disturbance in the ethics or moral behavior. And it may not be possible also to give respect to everybody. You may be on the road, cannot be falling down and doing Dandvat Parikrama. So just in the mind. And important thing to be remembered is that you give the respect with the remembrance of Lord's presence, not independently. This is what Jiva Goswami has commented when he gave the example of Bharat Maharaj and Ranthadev. So now in this next verse it says, Bhakti yogascha maya manvi udiritaha yayo ektarenaiva purusha purusham brajet. So he says that, O Manavi, or daughter of Manu, I have explained to you what is Bhakti Yoga and what is Yoga. So by following any one of them, a person can reach the person. Purusha Purusham Brajet. So twice the word Purusha is used. One is used for the living entity, another is used for the Lord, Paramatma. So by yoga, you will attain the Purusha, and by bhakti, you will attain Bhagavan ultimately. So those are described here. So Sri Vishwanath Chakravarti says, Uktam Bhakti Yogam Purvoktena Ashtanga Yogena Saha Upsamharati. So he says, Bhakti Yoga, which was described in the verses previously, he now concludes it along with the yoga. Yoga he has already described in the previous chapter. Purusham Brajayat Parameshwaram Mam Prapnuyat. So he says that one can reach me, the Supreme Person. Bhakti Yogena Chidghan Madhya Sri Murti Sakshatkara. Ashtanga Yogena cha Man Nirvishesasya Rupa Sakshatkara. Iti Ubhayor eva Mat Prapti Sabdena Shastra Shukti. So by Bhakti Yoga one will realize the form of the Lord, transcendental form of the Lord. And by Ashtanga Yoga one will realize the Nirvishesha, which are qualityless. Because if you remember the description of Ashtanga Yoga, then he has said how the yogi meditates on the form and finally he sees the form in the heart, and then he takes away his heart away from the Lord and becomes blank. So that is Nirvishesha. That is Nirbij Samadhi or Nirvikalpak Samadhi, without any object of meditation. So that's why both are mentioned. Depending on what is one's interest, one can follow that. Etad bhagavato rupam brahmana paramatmanah param pradhanam purusham devam karma vicheshtitam So he says that this is actually the form of Bhagavan. He is Bhagavan, he is Brahman, he is Paramatman. All three are mentioned here. This is the one of the very important teaching of Bhagavatam, that the absolute reality manifests in three ways, or known by three names: Brahman, Paramatma and Bhagavan. Brahmiti, Paramatmiti, Bhagavaniti Shabdate. So in these words, all three are mentioned. And then there is also manifestation of Pradhana and Purusha, the Jivas, living being, and Daiva, the fate or destiny, and Karma Vicheshtita, and the various types of karma being performed. So all this is manifestation of Bhagavan. Etar Bhagavata. So Bhagavan only manifests as Paramatma, he manifests as Brahman, he manifests as Jivas, he manifests as Pradhan, the material element, as Daiva, the destiny, and he manifests in the form of activities. Everything is him. What are you? So where is the free will? Free will is a very important issue. So where is it? So there is, when we see from this description, then there is no scope for free will. Free will is there as long as you are in ignorance. Then you think we have free will. It is not there, you think like that. It's like when you are dreaming, in the dream you do many things. You are not doing anything. You are lying on your bed. You are not even moving an inch. But you may be driving a car, going at 150 kilometers on the autobahn, but you are not moving an inch. So nothing is being done, but you are doing a lot inside your head. So like that. So this Pradhan, Jiva, Karma, Swabhav, Sanskar, all this, these are manifestations of God. So Dravya Kalascha Vasudevat Pithak Bhinnam Narnas Kasyachit. There is nothing which is different from Vasudeva. That's why Krishna says Vasudeva Sarvamiti. Samahatma Sudharva. So such a person who realizes that everything is Vasudeva is very rare. This is a very interesting thing. It smashes all egoistic ideas that I am this, I am that, I am the doer, I am so great. So Sri Vishwanath Chakravarti says, Nanu tayor ek taranaiva purusha purusham brajet iti prabhavishi natu purusho mam brajet iti brusha. So he is asking a question that you are saying that you follow any one of these two paths, and then by that Purusha will reach the Purusha. Means a person will reach a person. Why are you not saying that a person will reach me? Because Kapila is Lord himself. Why is he speaking in the third person and not in the first person, that a person will attain me? So why is not saying it? Siti Brusetyata Sa Purushayava Kas Tatra Svatarjanya Svavaksas Prasanaha iti. So then the question is raised that who is this Purusha whom we will attain? A person will attain a person, so who is that person whom we attain? So then he lifts his finger and he touches his chest and he says, that is me. And then he speaks this verse. And he's speaking this verse, he's saying, Etad Bhagavato Rupam. Ayam Artha, this is the meaning of this verse. Ya khalu bhaktesu bhagwan bhavati, jnaneshu brahmayogishu paramatma, tasyeva param yad aprakritam rupam, tadetadeva tatputro hameva parameshwara ityartha. So he says that the meaning is this, that one who is Bhagavan for the devotees, and one who is Paramatma for the yogis and Brahma for the jnanis. That very thing, that very absolute reality is now your Son, the Supreme Lord, in the transcendental body. So Kapila the Supreme. Na kevalam etavadeva. And it is not only that much that he is your Son, he is everything. Kintu prakriti purush jeev adrisht kal adi api madhyam etad rupam. He says that this form which you are seeing in front of you, it is everything. Prakriti, Purusha, Jiva, Adrishta and Kala. So these are the ontological categories found in this material world. There is nothing besides this. Different philosophies talk of different things. And Bhagavatam has his own dravya karma cha kalascha svabhavo jiva eva cha vasudevat paro brahman na cha artho asti tatvata. So there is dravya, karma, kala, svabhava, jiva and then vasudeva. Bas. Everything is part of that. So same thing is described here. That there is Bhagwan, and then there is Prakriti, and then there is Purusha and Jiva. Purusha, Jiva, the pure living being and the conditioned living being. Because there are also pure devotees of the Lord who are not conditioned by matter. They are also existing in the spiritual world. And then there are conditioned beings in the material world. And then there is Adrishta and there is Kala. And Kala is also part of material energy. And originally it is energy of the Lord. Two types of Kalas at the time. Pradhanam chatat pravartaka purushascha iti dvandakya. So Pradhana, and one who here Purusha here means the Paramatma. Pradhana is Purusha. So Pradhana is the unmanifested material nature, matter, primordial, and Purusha is Paramatma. Daivam Jiva Drishtam. Daiva means the fate or destiny of the Jiva, which is the karma performed in the past. Kidrisham Karambhi punya papir vividham chestitam yata. Tat. So, various types of activities which were performed, pious activities, sinful activities. By that karma, one gets the fate. Tatha kala iti avidhiyate. And then time. Time is very important. This is also a reminder of God. We think we are controller, but we cannot control time. So those who do not perceive God directly, at least they perceive time. And there is time which is bringing a change, and no one can stop it. Sometimes we feel and we wish that time should stop and things are happening nicely. And we feel that I wish the time stops. not stop. And sometimes you feel that time should pass quickly, but it does not happen. So time is beyond our control, and everything is moving under the influence of time. Everything from atoms up to the planets, big planets. So yat tadapi divyam adbhut prabhavam. So this has very wonderful influence. Mat swarupameva. So this is also my own swarupa, and it is described in the next verse, because this commentary here is a mixture of both the verses. Rupa bhedaspadam divyam kalam iti abhidhiyate. So time is described here as divya. Divya means that it is very wonderful. Very difficult to describe it, what is time. But how do we perceive time? Rupa bheda aspadam. Change in form. That is the way by which we know. We feel the passage of time only by the change. Something is changing around you. Even if you have a watch, then the hands are moving. Or if you have an electronic watch, then something is also blinking, the numbers are changing. So Rupa Bheda, some form has changed. So that is the influence of time. So basically we know time by its influence. If we don't feel the influence of time, then it looks like time is not passing. So Rupa Bhedaspadam Divyam Kala iti abhidhiyate bhutanam bhedinanam yatava bhinna drisham bhayam. So change in all the living beings, and beginning from Mahat Tattva happens because of time. And it is the cause of fear for those people who see themselves in this world as different from the Lord. So time is causing fear in everyone, except for those who perceive the presence of the Lord. Then they are beyond the influence of time. Otherwise everybody else. Because time will take away everything you have. Whatever you have, good or bad, without discrimination. Not that he will take away only the good things and leave the bad things. No. He takes away everything you have. So bad will also go away. Everything will change. Everything is changing. That's why it is very difficult to describe anything in this world. Because as soon as you describe, it has already changed. We feel that it is not changing because this change may be so minute that it is similar to what we saw before. It's like the water of the river is flowing. You think it is the same river in which you took bath yesterday, but it is not same river. Because the river has gone away. That water is flowing away, because the next water also similar. So it creates a confusion in the mind. Mind is not able to discriminate. If you meet somebody, you meet someone today, then you meet that person next day, and you say, oh, I met you yesterday. No, you did not meet that person yesterday. Because that person's body is already changed. But he looks like the same. He is not. So we are always changing. Good and bad both. That's why Lord Buddha said, Sarvam Kshanikam Kshanikam. Everything is momentary. Their philosophy is called Kshanikavad, momentariness. Their whole philosophy is based on this idea of momentariness, right? Nothing is stable except Paramatma. So therefore it says Bhutadinam Mehtadinam Yato Bhinna Drisham Bhayam. It causes fear. Why do we fear? Fear means that we anticipate some loss. Right? Whenever you have fear of something, means you are anticipating that you will lose something which you have, or which you think you have. You may not even have it, but you think you have it. And then if you get a feeling that you will lose it, then you become fearful. And because time will take away everything. That's why Krishna said that Kalo Asmi Sarvalok Shayakrit. At time I am destroyer of everybody. And then he gave a demonstration to Arjuna that everybody was running into his mouth. So in Hindi there is a saying Kal ke gal mein. Kal is time and gal is cheeks, means mouth. Kal ke gal mein. Everything goes into the mouth of the time. So Krishna showed this practically to Arjuna, how everything was running into his mouth and getting smashed under his teeth. So that's why there is fear. So he says that Divyam Adbhut Prabhavam, it has a very wonderful influence. Mat Swarupameva, it is also my form. Rupa Bhedasya Vastunam Annitha Bhavasya Aspadam Ashrayakam. And this is the cause of bringing a change in the form of objects. Uktam hi kalat guna vyatikarahiti. This was said earlier that by time there is a change in the gunas. The gunas of the Prakriti, they are changed by time, and that's how creation occurs. Prashtam kalasya lakshanam uktam uchyate chaitya. So earlier she had asked, Devuti had asked the definition of time. So he said, this is the definition of time. Rupa Vedaspadam Divyam Kalam iti anidhiya. In one line he gives the definition. Yataha sakasad mehdadinam tattadabhimaninam jivanam srishthyadi madhyant bhavanam bhinna disham agyaninam sarvesham bhaya. So he says that there is fear in the ignorant people because of time. The jivas, living beings who are identifying with the matter, so they all fear the time. And why there is fear? So that is described in the next verse. Yontaha pravishya bhutani bhutayi atyakhilashrayah sa vishnu akyo bhiyagyo so kala kalayatam prabhu. So he says that he enters in everything and he devours everything by the material elements. So he is the Lord. He is the manifestation of Lord himself. Bhutaireva bhutani atti. So one living being is eating another living being by the influence of time. Adhiyagya yagyadhikaritvena tatfal data. And he is also giving the result of the sacrifice. so Kalayata, and he controls everything. So Kalayati iti Kala, which controls everything, which counts everything, which destroys everything, that is time. So now there is a description of time, more description. There is no comment here. So न च स्य कश्चिद् दयितो न द्वेषो न च बान्धवः आविश्यति अप्रमत्तोऽसौ प्रमत्तं जन्मान्तकृत्. He says that there is no one who is friendly to time, nobody who is his enemy, nobody who is his relative. Everyone is equal. Time does not discriminate. So he does not discriminate. He comes, treats everyone equally except those who are devotees. Does not bother them. So those people who have forgotten the Lord, therefore he is saying that he is very active. Pramatto asau pramattam janmantakrit. That he is very alert, does not sleep. Time does not sleep. We sleep, he is awake. So he kills those who are not awake, who are sleeping, apramatta, or who are intoxicated by material sense pleasures. Then he destroys them. And Janma Antakrit is the cause of birth and death. So birth and death are caused by time, by influence of time. And not only that, only living beings here on earth are like this, but everybody. Yad bhayad vati vatoyam suryastapti yad bhayat yad bhayad varsate devo bhagno ye bhati yad bhayat. So it is by the fear of time that wind blows. It is by the fear of time that sun shines. It is by the fear of time that the Indra sends rains. And it is by the fear of time that the luminaries in the sky shine. So, all because of the time's fear. Everyone has fear from this. Yad vanaspatayo bhita latascha ausudhi bhisah sve sve kale vigrananti puspani cha phalani cha. And not only these higher beings or lower beings, but even plants and trees, they are fearful of time, and therefore because of the fear of time, all the herbs, creepers, plants, they give fruits and flowers on time. So there is a big fear of that. So Jiva Goswami says that it's in the next verse. It says Shravanti Sarito Bhita Nod Sarpati Udadhiryata Agnirindhe Sagiribhir Bhuna Majjati Yadbhayat. Says because of the fear of time, the rivers are flowing and the ocean does not leave its boundary. Otherwise, it can flood the earth. Now maybe when the glaciers melt, then the ocean will become little fearless and drown some of the cities. And it is because of the fear of fire, fear of time, that the fire burns. And it is because of the fear of time that the earth does not drown into the ocean. So, all because of the fear. So Jiva Goswami has written a nice statement. He says that sometimes it is stated that Kochit Channa Kalo Ganga Bhavishyati. I don't know from where he has this quotation, but in Kali Yuga, Ganga will disappear. So he says that means Ganga will not flow out of fear, which it is supposed to flow. And says that fire burns by the fear. He says, but in the wood it does not burn, it remains inside the wood in unmanifest form. So he says that also we should know. And then Namo dadati swastam padam yanyavadada lokam swadeham tamte mahan saptabhir avritah. He says that because of the discipline, the sky gives place to living beings for as breathing. Nabho dadati swastam padam yanniyama adana. So you are having some place around you, so you can breathe. This is given by the sky out of fear of time. And it is Mahatattva who manifests the coverings of the Brahmanda, beginning from Ahankara by the fear of time. And then Gunabhimano Deva Sargadi Suvasya Yad Bhayat Vartante Anuyugam Yesham Vasayeta Charach. The Devas, who are presiding deities of the Gunas of Prakriti, they engage in the acts of creation, maintenance, etc. by the fear of time, yuga after yuga, and it is under their control that the mobile and immobile beings exist in this universe. So this is also a little bit interesting. Let me see, because there is also Lord Vishnu who is in charge of Sattva-guna. So how is that he is fearing time? So what it means here is that fear does not mean that they are really fearing. What it means is that they do it also on time. When it is time for Vishnu to take avatar, then he takes avatar. Right? This is also fixed. When it is time for Shiva to destroy, he destroys. When it is time for Brahma to create, he creates. So they are also following time, as if they are under the command of time. So although Lord Vishnu is supreme and time is actually under his control, but looks like he is also doing everything in time. Right? So this is the meaning. This is the meaning that rivers are flowing, all this is flowing, everything happens in time. सो अनंतो अंतकर है, कालो अनादिर आदिकृतव्य है, जन्म जनेन जनेन मार्यन मृत्युना अंतकम. So he says that this indestructible time is beginningless, but it is the cause of birth of others, and it is endless, but it brings end to others, and he creates the whole world by bringing birth to the son from the father, and by its power of destruction it even kills Yamaraj, who is supposed to give death to everybody. So janam janena janiyan maryan mrityuna antakam. Antakam means death personified, Yamaraj. So he kills even the death, and he brings birth from people who are supposed to be born. So this is the end of 29th chapter. There is no commentary on these verses. So basically in this chapter there was description of Bhakti Yoga, and because Devahuti had asked question to Lord Kapila at the beginning of this chapter, that she wanted to know what is Bhakti Yoga and what is the Swarup of time. Kalasya Ishwarupasya Paresam cha Parasya cha Te Swarupam Vat Kurvanti Yadheto Kusulam Jana. He had asked about time, that's why he spoke so many verses about time. Otherwise there was no need. So then he gave the definition of bhakti, and then after giving definition of bhakti, he described the practical aspects of bhakti. And then he basically concluded that we should recognize the presence of Lord everywhere and respect it. Otherwise there is fear from time. So this is 29th chapter. Any question?
Yeah, it seems that everything is arranged in a. There's some cruelty or some violence involved in the whole system. Because everybody is food for somebody else, and everybody lives in a fear. Like fear aspect that.
That's what he said.
Yeah.
Bhutai bhutani atti. Yanta pravesya bhutani bhutai ranti akhilasya. Who enters in all beings and makes one being eat another being.
Mm.
So this is the principle of this material world. Anastani sahastanam.
It is said that in Vaikuntha there is no time, right? So then, why things are moving there?
Out of love. Time is there, but time is not causing fear, because it does not bring any change. Like it brings change here, everything is changing, we are getting older every second.
What is the meaning of movement if it is not change? Of time, if there is no change?
Change, that's what I'm saying, in the sense that like here our body is getting older, right? So there you remain young all the time. If you are 15-year-old there, you remain 15-year-old all the time. That is the meaning.
So actually there is no movement.
No, there is movement, you can walk, there is no problem about it. But it does not influence your form. can perform activity, but those activities are not under the influence of time. That's why those activities are eternal. They're happening time and again, continuously, regularly.
They are also not really activities.
They are not in the material sense. Because in the material sense, activity is something which you begin. It has a beginning and has an end. Right? If you eat dinner, then you begin eating, then you eat, then you end it. If you are cooking, you begin cooking, then you end it, then you say, I cooked. So in the spiritual world also they do it, but it has no beginning and no end. They are cooking and the cooking is done and still they are cooking. You eat and you have eaten and still you are eating. And this is problematic thing to understand. So you are always eating, you are always sleeping, you are doing everything always. Nothing comes to an end there.
It means that you can do only one thing. Or? It seems
Everything
like-
happens there simultaneously.
In the beginning of the class you said that the knowledge given by Shastra cannot be obtained by any other means, and that our senses are just not capable to enter this realm of the Shastra. So how do we perceive the Shastra? And we perceive the Shastra with our senses, right?
Yeah.
So how does that work on us?
Well, there is two types of knowledge. Knowledge is called, one is direct knowledge, another is called indirect knowledge. So Shastra, when you are getting this knowledge, this is indirect knowledge. And this, when you will realize it, then it will become direct knowledge. So now you are using your senses, that is only to hear or to see the letters there. But the knowledge is coming through the word. You hear, but after that you understand the meaning of the word. So the knowledge is coming through the word, not simply because you heard it. You can hear and not understand. So hearing is direct perception. The sound you are directly hearing. But then the knowledge which you gain from that is coming from the word. It is the word
From
which
the
is
sound of the word.
Yeah. When you see an object, that seeing is direct perception. You see the book and you say, okay, this is a book. So this is direct perception. But when you hear the word, and then you get knowledge from that word, so there are two things. That the word, that hearing part is direct perception. Because you are using your ear to hear it. And your ear is coming in contact with the sound which I am speaking. But after the sound goes inside you, then you understand the meaning of it. That is knowledge.
So it is the buddhi.
So that knowledge part is now indirect knowledge.
So it is the buddhi who processes the sound
Yes.
that I'm hearing
Yes.
according to the samskaras or vrittis that are within
Right.
me.
Yeah, there is a meaning. You have the meaning of words within you. And if you don't know, then you have to ask. And then words make a sentence. So then you put the words together, you have a sentence, then you get the meaning of the sentence. So there are two theories. One is called Sfotovada, another is no Sfotovada. So Mimamsakas and Vaiyakaranas, grammarians and followers of Gemini, Purvamimamsaka, they accept Spotval. According to them, they say that the word, actually what it does is that it just initiates a sphota. Sphota is like a boom. That the meaning is already there inside you. But the word just reveals it suddenly. So they have Padaspota, Vakyaspota, different types of.
So for example, let's take the word Purusha. Now somebody who has never heard about Purusha and heard this word or anything of Sankhya, is just totally foreign to this word Purusha. When he hears that word, it has no meaning to him.
So therefore there is no Sphota happening.
So then but then how can the meaning be inside and the word can just...
Just like you have the objects in this room, and then if room is dark, you don't see the object. Then you bring the light, then the light reveals the object. The light is not creating the objects are already there, but they are illuminating, that light is illuminating that. So the sound, when you hear, then it's like removing the covering from that object and showing it to you.
So now if an ignorant person who has never heard the word Purusha and doesn't know what it means, hears the word Purusha, it doesn't have any meaning to him.
So there are two things. One is removing the covering and other is illuminating it. So suppose you have a pot and inside the pot there is some object which is kept. So you don't see it because there is a pot and it is covered. Now if you break the pot, then you see the object, but still you need light to see it. So two things are necessary, that you have to break the pot and you have to have light. Suppose light is there, still you don't see because the object is covered by the pot, clay pot. If there is no light, even if you break the clay pot, you still don't see. And if you don't break the clay pot, and there is light, still you don't see. So because that person Purusha does not have inside him the meaning of the word Purusha, then he does not understand. Although the pot is broken, but there is no meaning coming. There is no illumination.
So the breaking of the pot is compared to
Just
acquiring the knowledge
hearing the word,
of the meaning of the word.
hearing the word,
Hearing the word.
and then if you know the meaning, then that is illuminating.
Oh, okay.
So then this is for everything is in the beginning that you don't have any meaning, and then you store the meaning of everything what you in the experience. And when it comes,
So, that,
you recollect.
so the Spota is illuminating that meaning.
Okay.
So you could say this is the principle of how Shastra works on us. That it gives us, it illuminates, first of all it tells us what the object is and then it illuminates it.
Yeah. But this is again what I am saying is that this is indirect knowledge. Then you have to realize it. Then that is called direct knowledge.
So realizing means practice.
Means now you have direct perception of it. One is that I explained to you how is Munich, how is the Munich airport, and then you actually go there and see it. So first you got indirect knowledge by Shabda, then you go there and you see it, now you perceive it actually like that, the way Shabda has described. So same way, one is description here that there is Paramatma in everything. And then when you attain bhav, then you actually perceive that Paramatma is actually there. With your eyes you will see. So that is perception. So you go from indirect knowledge to direct knowledge. Therefore Krishna talks about two words, Jnana and Vijnana. Jnana Vijnana Sahitam Bhakshami Hitkamya. So this word has the power to give you direct perception. Because the knowledge which is contained in the word and the word are non-different. This is the characteristic of transcendental knowledge. So like we speak of name, but actually Shastra is also like that. So name and the person indicated or denoted by that name, they are non-different. It's actually not a denotation, but it is the same person himself. In the material world, the word is only denoting an object. The word has nothing to do with the content of the object or anything. You can use another word to denote it. So in case of transcendental objects, it is not like that. So therefore word itself will reveal to you that object.
So if somebody hears, let's say, the word Vaikuntha, which is a transcendental place and a transcendental word, I suppose. So just by hearing Vaikuntha, that revealing dynamics.
If the heart is pure, then just the word can reveal.
So he already has to have knowledge of what is Vaikuntha.
No. There is no need. In this case, there is no need of that.
So in the case of, so when we say that Krishna and his name are non-different,
You don't need to know what Krishna means.
then this,
the name itself will reveal to you what is Krishna.
so then this spota thing does not apply to
Spota,
this?
actually we don't accept spota. I was just explaining. But Jiva Goswami has refuted this spota theory in Sarva Samvadini.
Because it seems that the knowledge, all the knowledge is already there.
Yeah, and we don't accept that.
You don't accept it. Then you just have to click the button and the knowledge comes out, like something like that. But it's not like that.
But then why it is said that Shastra is that which can gives what nothing else can give? This is Shastra. Because if it is a matter of direct perception, and we have also, for example, worship can give the same perception, not only the Shastra.
Yeah, but how do you know what is worship? That you know from Shastra or not?
What about Guru?
Hmm?
What about Guru?
And from where Guru got it?
From his Guru?
Yes.
No, I mean, Vyasadeva didn't read Shastras. He had this perception and he...
Yeah, and because he has the perception and then he is giving you that perception, that is what is Shastra. What else is Shastra?
So then
Shastra
I
means
can
that
say,
it is realized by somebody and that person is explaining this like
so then I can say that it also goes by parampara without Shastra.
What is parampara? What do you mean by parampara?
I mean that knowledge is not, knowledge is not passing only in the book.
I'm not saying that Shastra is telling you and then it cannot be told by Guru. I'm not saying that. But if it is coming by parampara, then it is also given by somebody who has perceived it. Right? And that perception obviously is not through these material senses. He must have elevated himself or herself beyond senses, isn't it? So therefore, that is Shastra only. What else is Shastra?
Okay, so Shastra is not only the book.
Shastra is not just this book. Shastra is word of God, all the self-realized people. That is Shastra. Because they are able to perceive which we don't perceive, therefore they tell something which we don't know, or which a normal person cannot perceive.
I just have one more question about the Lord being fate. So living entities have to go through, most horrible experiences. Their samsaric existence. So all this, however horrible it may be, is God.
Yes. What else is it? What else is it?
So then it's not really that I or the Jiva created this fate by his own doing, or does this now again come to this dream category?
Yes. As long as one is in that state, then yes, he is creating and he is suffering or enjoying.
So then the dream is also God?
Yeah. Because there is nothing else besides. You see, when you describe something, like you say this is a table, right? And this is a computer. So now this table and computer, they are independent of each other. And the existence of the table does not depend on the existence of the computer and vice versa. If I add something to this computer, or if I remove something from it, it does not have any bearing on the table. So we can say that they are two different things, and the table is independent of the computer is independent of the table. So this we are dealing in the material world, but when we actually analyze the whole thing and go to the ultimate cause, then we see that nothing can be defined without Paramatma. Any object in this material world, because matter cannot create by itself. So then everything then is dependent on him, and he is the cause of everything. Sarvakaran Karan. He is the Nimit cause, instrumental cause, and also the material cause. So if he is the cause of both, then how anything can be defined independently? Nothing can change without an influence caused by him. So that is the meaning, that everything is, including fate, including...
So when people say, how can God be so cruel?
Now if you when you are saying this, you are already making a distinction that God is different and people are different from Him. Right? Cruel on Him, on whom? If He is everything, then how He is cruel on whom?
Yeah.
There is nothing besides Him. So when you are making this, then you are already coming into that category of dream. Which means you are not accepting His existence. So then your statement has no meaning. That God is cruel. You actually don't accept God. To say God is cruel, first you should accept God. And if you will accept God, you will not say that He is cruel. So those who say God is cruel, they are not even accepting Him. Therefore Krishna says, Samoham sarv bhutasu name deshvasti na priya. I am equal to everybody. Nobody is dear to me. Nobody is my enemy.
Then there's just one thing mysterious, which is grace.
Yes.
Why do some people get mercy and some other people not?
That is because God has free will.
This is God's free will.
He is the only one who has it. Because He is not the only one who is free. To have free will, you must be free. If you are conditioned, how can you have free will? You are in the prison, and then you say, I can do what I like to do. Okay, within these four walls you can say anything, but you cannot step out. So we are in the prison. This is the Durga, prison house, and then we are saying that we have free will. You can say it, you are free to say it, that much free will you have. But where is it? If your mind, your intellect, your ego, everything is made of matter, and you have no control over it. You don't even know what thought will come in your mind next second. Do you know? Can anyone predict what will happen to your mind next second? So where is the free will? But we can think like this.
But if we are really surrendering to the Lord, is grace not coming automatically?
Yes. If you surrender, that itself is grace. What else is grace? It has already come. Because without grace you will not surrender. If you are dreaming, then of course now we wake up by the influence of time. But actually when you are sleeping, you cannot wake up by yourself. So if you are getting wake up, then somebody is already given you the grace to wake you up. You cannot get up by yourself.
I have another question about the Kala, about time. Why do people don't mind about time? If somebody is maybe 60 years, his birthday, and the people said, oh, you are so young, you are still so young, but it's not true, he is old.
Yeah.
And
Because
why the people...
because people want to remain young, so they talk like that. It's not possible to remain young, but as I said that in talking there is no problem. You can talk. So they feel satisfied by talking and putting themselves in illusion.
Yes, but why do they don't feel this useless about...
That is the ignorance. Because they are ignorant. And they want to remain in ignorance. They're trying to create ignorance for each other by saying that you are 60 years young. Instead of saying you are 60 years old. So they like, because everybody's desire is not to die and remain fresh, youthful, which is possible only if you get a spiritual body. So what is possible in spiritual body, we want to have that in the material body, where it is not possible. So then we just talk. A person who is hungry, he likes to talk about food. It gives some satisfaction from the words. So usually when people are talking something, this is what they are lacking, they want it. So they derive satisfaction by talking. Okay.